Hello everyone. In this video we would see implementation of Ensemble Learning using RandomForestClassifier. Okay, so in Ensemble Learning, again the first thing we do, we import our libraries, which is import pandas as pd, import numpy as np, and import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt, and also we would import from sklearn.ensemble, we would import RandomForestClassifier, RandomForestClassifier. Now let's run this. Okay, now as well, in our second column we would have to read our CSV. So data to pd dot read underscore CSV dot CSV, and also let's print the first 5 rows using hit function. Okay, now let's see how many datas we have. So we have 100 rows with 11 columns, but we won't use 11 columns, right? Because RandomForestClassifier is a classification algorithm where we need our final, like our output column as in binary, mean in 0 and 1. So what we would do, we would change this diagnosis column into 0 and 1. We had lots of string, but we would change it into 0 and 1. So let's see. So before that, let's take all the columns that we would use. So made data doing, and as we have multiple number of columns, so we have to use like 2D arrays. Okay, each, I would rather copy this all. Blood pressure, then we have cholesterol levels, then heart rate, and then we have BMI, and at last we have our diagnosis column. Good. Now let's print first 5 rows of it. Come on. First 5 row of this. Okay. Now, as I said, we have to change our diagnosis column into 0 and 1. So for that we would apply our lambda functions. So made data of diagnosis dot will apply a condition using lambda function that 1, if let's say if the condition in X for condition in hypertension or obesity or overweight. So if in diagnosis column we have this words like hypertension, obesity, overweight, I would change this into 1, and else we would have 0. Okay, any condition in x, okay, sorry, it would be 4. Now it's done. Now let's see how many zeros we got and how many 1 we got. Okay, that made data diagnosis, and we would use value underscore counts function to see how many 0 and 1 we have. We have 63 zeros and 37 ones. Okay, now it's time to reshape our x and y. Okay, so in x, I'd simply drop diagnosis column and use axis is equals to 1, and in y I'd simply keep my diagnosis. Okay, let's run it. Now simply we'd use train test split. So for that, from sklearn dot model selection, we have to import train test split, then xtrain comma xtest ytrain comma ytest. We call our function train test split. Then in the parameter we would give our x, y and test size, which in this case I would keep 20%, so 80% for training and 20% for testing. Okay, now simply let's write a variable forest. Let's call our random forest classifier, random forest classifier function, and then fit our training data. So forest dot fit xtrain ytrain. Random forest classifier. Is there any issue? Random forest classifier. Random forest classifier. Now we have to predict. So y predict forest dot predict will predict our x test. Let's see. Okay, now let's print our predict values. We have all these values. Okay, now let's see the score. Okay, let's see the score. For score we would have simply x test and y test, I mean how well our model have fitted into this testing data. It says 0.75. If we run it again, it changes. If we run it again, it's changing. So now it's okay, 80%. So I didn't give it a random starting position in the train test split function that he could give. Okay, now let's print our classification report and confusion matrix. For that we have to import from sklearn.matrix. We have to import classification report and confusion matrix. Then we would simply print confusion matrix amongst whitest and widespread. Also we would print classification report within whitest and widespread. So our accuracy is coming 80%. So that's it. We have classified our data using random forest classifier, and yeah, thanks for watching the video. We would use bagging and boosting in Ensemble Learning in our next videos.